Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with a quickie version of Mixed Media Frenzy. I was not well last week, or earlier this week, I guess, when it was time to do Mixed Media Frenzy. Although I had all my supplies pulled, I just wasn't up to it. So I want to do it now because I love the page, and I had an idea for using something that I got when I got back from a retreat sponsored by Scrapping Reflections. In the mail was my finisher's prize for the last load, which was in May. And the theme of that load was the Golden Girls. And so the finisher's prize is actually this stencil, which are the words to the theme song, which is "Thank You for Being a Friend." And if you were alive during that period of time when that show was on, that song was everywhere. It was on the radio, it was on television, it was used to advertise the show, and it's just a wonderful song. And so I knew I wanted to use it for this page. I'm going to show you, I cannot show you a printed version because my printer's not working, but I'm going to bring this up, my laptop up close enough that you can see. It's got these streaks of color. There's a green, and then there's a teal and aqua kind of color. And on the green and the aqua, these areas, you can see that there's some writing tone on tone. And I'm going to use this stencil to do that writing on my page, so we'll see. And my my photo there, I've also got a black and white photo of my hubby, but he's looking the opposite direction from her selfie, so I'm going to have it on this side of the page and have the title over on the other side. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to put this aside now and bring all this. I'm using a Vicky Bouton pre-done mixed media page, and you might say, hey, this is Mixed Media Frenzy, you're supposed to do that background. And if I were doing this as part of the regular series, I would have done, but these colors matched the idea that I had. They're kind of similar to the ones in there, and I'm going to do enough mixed media on top that I think I'll get credit for that. So I'll deserve credit for that. So what I think I'm going to do, I've already matted this with some scraps that have some of those colors in it. I thought I might put it there. I'm not quite sure whether I want to do it on here. I think I'll do it on the lime green side, and I'll do my stenciling on here. And I might start up here and do a little bit there. I guess I'll just do it right in the middle, and then that gives me some embellishing room. And I have already taken another sheet of this same paper, and I stamped and fussy cut some flowers and butterflies. And I kind of like in the original, her stamping wasn't just sharp black stamping on her embellishments. So I used an ink, this Memento ink. It is a very old ink pad that I have not re-inked intentionally because it does ink kind of lightly, and it's not quite as black as my VersaFine, for example. Or I have a couple Memento pads that I do keep re-inked and use for card making. So I'm kind of ruffling the edges of the flowers. I may do a little bit of distressing with my scissors, but I don't want them fully, you know, distressed looking. And I'm going to take the different colors. You can recognize kind of where these were stamped on the other sheet. I also splattered them with white and black splatters just to give them a different look, so that even if I'm using tone on tone like that, you're getting a sense that this is a different element. You'd get that by the fact that I've popped it up on foam. And I'm not necessarily going to distress them like all the way on each one, or... Okay, so now I'm going to kind of... This cardstock that's used for these mixed media sheets is really wonderful stuff. I love stamping on it, and I love doing other mixed media on top of these because it just takes it so well. And it's as a consequence, it's also kind of a heavy weight and just very finely textured with a kind of a linen texture. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside right now. Let's get busy with this mixed media. What I'm using for the mixed media is something that I also got at the retreat, which is this Brutus Monroe Velveteen Glaze, and it's in a lima bean color. And as I understand it, I've never used it before, and this will be the first time now. As I understand it, it dries to a sort of velvety finish, and I'm seeing that it's really really fluid here. So I'm going to be really careful, but I also am going to tell you that I don't necessarily care if anyone can read this or not. If it can be read, the words are something that are appropriate to the photo I'm using. So, yay, that would be great. But if you can't, it just kind of gives it sort of an abstract look. And that's okay. And I'm thinking... I might move... Okay, it's not necessarily going into the holes all that well everywhere. But I'm okay, because I'm going to be embellishing on top of it. See, it didn't really go through, but I'm okay with that look. And that tells me that I can kind of go... I'm kind of going to go this way, and maybe I'll try a different applicator. Let's do that. I'm going to sneak up here and try this domed applicator, and I'm just going to pick it up from the pick it up from the lid. And since I really don't care that every word is readable, but I do want to have that texture on here. I'm just gonna kind of do that. Okay, so again, that I've got a lot of it on the other side, and that's okay. I'm kind of just gonna go with that, and I'm gonna maybe turn it over this way and see what I get when I do that. Again, just texture. So I'm gonna put some more in here, and I'm gonna come back up here and do words from further down in there. There. Let's see. I kind of like that. I'm gonna kind of set these things aside. All the wet stuff I'm gonna put in there. And now I'm gonna work on the photo cluster and the rest. I've got that kind of texture, and it's going to dry with a totally different texture from the underlying page or anything else that I have on, on the page. So I think I'm gonna be happy with that. I will need to figure out, I do want to do something where I can read those words, but this one I definitely didn't need to. Okay, I've got this label, and in hers she has something kind of directly opposite the photo. She's got a strip, and I'm gonna cut this kind of cleanly so that I can have this narrow strip kind of at the end of the page. I'm going to use the other strip on by the photo, and I'm just gonna, and I'm putting things on now before I do all the splatters. I have several colors of green inks that I'm going to use for splatters. I'm going to put this here. It's got the mint green, and it's adjacent to the mint green. That's another reason that I kind of thought this goes mint to kind of yellow-green to a green-yellow there. But now I want the mint here to somewhat contrast. So I'm gonna slide it in under there and have it at an angle. Okay. Need to make sure that's there. I've got another label. There's this whole piece of the photo that isn't, let's say, what's the word? Important, I guess, is a decent enough word. So I'm kind of going to build something of an embellishment cluster on here. that's a clear label sticker. I think it's Maggie Holmes. And then this is something from Simple Stories, Snap Studios thing. I'm going to kind of let that out there. I'm going to throw a tiny tag maybe over the thing that says when, what, where, and who. And let's see, do I want that tag or this tag? I'm going to pop it up on foam, and I'm not liking what I've done here, so I'll have some correcting to do. So let me kind of place that like that, because I really don't want to cover up that original tag. And I've got this flare that could go in. I think I have another bit of flare there that might work well too. So I'll put some foam under that. I'm liking it with the balance from that flare, so I'm good. I had planned to use a sticker or a tag or something over there, so I'll have to use something else there. Okay, now I wanted to do some stamping around. I'm going to have to be careful of the wet spots. So in a few areas, I want to do some stamping with this little, it's a plus sign stamp. And then I'm going to do the embellishments kind of around these stamps. There'll be almost a little bit of a base for them. And so, and it won't be on all of them because, like I said, there's a lot of wet area that I don't really want to touch right now. Okay, now given that, I'm going to cover just the photo and just his face in the photo. And then I'm going to do some splatters. I'm going to kind of beef this up a little bit, but I need to kind of look around and see what I've got with me. I'm using Diane Reevely's Fresh Lime ink spray for some of these sprinkles, and I will let some get on the cluster and the photo. I like for, sometimes, I guess, I like for it to look like some of the splattering and was done over time, not all, at the beginning before the page got started. So that's kind of why I do splatters after the fact. This is Cut Grass, also by Dilutions. And these will be a darker green, so I won't do those. Well, yeah, I'll do some. And just to kind of add to the minty teal look, I have some Heidi Swap Color Shine in Sweet Mint. So I'm gonna do these about. This actually adds kind of a teal note to things, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I started to do this on the butterflies and flowers, but I really want them to stand out as not being cut from this background. It'll have the colors and the kind of the swirliness of the mixed media look. And here's Color Shine in Citron. So that they have a mixed media look, but they won't look like they were cut from this exact background with all of this done to it. So they'll stand out in that respect. Now this is pretty much the same color as the Fresh Lime by Dilutions, but it has a shimmer to it. And it dries with a very different finish. So this has really kind of changed this whole landscape here, right? And I love it. And I have a few sequins. I don't know that I'll use a lot of sequins, but now just for a hint of black, I'll do a little splattering. Okay, and I may also add some white. This may not show up. It says it's Dilutions, but I've actually got some diluted paint and gesso in here. Okay, so it shows a little bit, and I especially would want to get some on that tag. That tag is cut from a scrap of Color Study, and this pre-mixed or pre-made mixed media pad is also part of the Color Study collection, and that's my laptop telling me I have a message. So close that down. Now I'm going to pull this out. Ooh, and I like the splatters that got there. I wonder if I could do some more. There. Okay, and I might add some of these, the mint. Okay, I like that, because it looks festive, almost like a party. I'm going to do some more. I like that so well. I'm going to do some more. This photo was taken during a birthday party that was held probably in 2009 at our old house in Jackson. And the full photo has other people in it, but I zeroed in on this because that's got that magical smile of his. And I definitely wanted to highlight that. I'm gonna maybe put this here And okay, now we're going to go about putting all these pretty things all over the place. And I want to tie a couple of them in with Flair. And I've got a few things to take. I probably also need to do the title, and I'm thinking it'll go in the wet spot, although I may rethink that and maybe put it up in here. I'm going to use this thicker sheet. It's going to say the good stuff, and I'm going to use some of these green bits in here, not the but I guess I could say oh snap too. I'm going to put this one here, and then I want one of the flowers that's kind of in that same color range to be part of a trio, so that it's got the flare, the crosses, and the flower. And they won't all be built that way, but that one will. I kind of like using this guy maybe overlapping the photo, since he's pointed in the right direction. Let's see. Okay, that's good. Now this flare can go up here maybe in conjunction with these, and I'll put it here overlapping that. And maybe this time I could use a butterfly, or do I want a flower? I'll use a butterfly. And it's one of the mint butterflies that kind of contrasts with the flare. Now what I think I'm going to do, when I said I was going to beef this up, I think I'm just going to put some embellishment, or an embellishment, there. Let me see if I have a word strip that works there. I will let's see. Having trouble getting hold of this. There is, okay, one of a kind. I like that, and it seems appropriate to put right there. And then I've got, there's Life is a Grand Adventure. And certainly we had a grand adventure. And that doesn't have to be at the same angle as anything else. Let's see. I like to do things in threes. So, well, this says this is the good stuff, but that's my title. Light the way, you know. Okay, now I'm going to maybe do another flower. I might do a group that overlap. Oh, here's a mostly white one. This one contrasts. This one contrasts even more. Let's do that. Curl that up. Curl that up. In the original, they were really nicely curled. I'm gonna do one right here by those crosses. And I might do some sequins by the ones that don't have flares. Here's one by these crosses. I've got two more of the butterflies left. That would be too repetitious of this one. I've only got one more flower. I'm gonna do a flower here and maybe this little tag. Kind of tucked in under there. Okay, just a little pop of color there. Don't want to use that one. Don't really even want to use that one. So I'm going to let some of the crosses be there without anything else. So I think it's time for sequins, and then we're about ready to wrap this guy up. I do want to put the title on. Let's see where that's going to go. I'm going to put the word stuff on first. I kind of want to see. On the original, the title was kind of right there, but that's all wet, and I kind of want that texture, the velvety texture of that, to show. So I'm going to do it over here where there's not so much of the stenciling. Could I overlap the flower with that? Or maybe do it this way, more this direction. And I can go back and stick that down. If I need to add a little bit of liquid glue, I can. That texture paste Velveteen Glaze. And just so that you know, there are many of you out there that I'm sure are way more familiar with Brutus Monroe products than I am. I'm kind of a Brutus Monroe newbie. So, and I did not do any research to see how this should be used. I kind of decided at the last minute. I was actually going to brush Distress Oxide, because that's what I do. That's what I usually do. I want this arrow here kind of cutting across, pointing to the photo. And then maybe I'll put hearts over here with these orphan crosses. I've got another lime green heart, and it kind of works there. Okay, so now I'm going to put that away and that away, and I'll pull just a few sequins. And I'm going to pull them from the Limeade Twist. I also pulled out Guac It Real Good, but I like the greens in this one better for this page. So right now, I had also planned maybe to do some stenciling on this tag, but I think what I'm going to do, and it's a tag I've actually used for testing some stuff on the other side, I'm just going to work this in to the photo cluster just to add some black accent, because I used the black labels there, and this photo cluster needs to be glued down more. But let's see, I'm gonna go blop, 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 and I'm hoping these don't look like blops, because I have used a very it's a new glue to me. I've got messages from many of you who saw my last video where I used it, who say that you can use it in a fine line bottle, and I need to get some information on fine line bottles. Let me put one here, and I'll put one here, and I'll put one here, and here, and maybe up here. And just little bits of sparkle about the page. And that's way too much glue for sequins. And I'm gonna, as much as possible, leave them sort of standing in the glue so that they get a little dimension, maybe like little sequin pop dots. I haven't ever tried that, but okay. And I'm gonna do a couple more around the page, nothing that you need to stay around for. So I'll end the video, and thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with Mixed Media Frenzy full on next Friday. So hope you like this. It was a fun and quick way to do it, and that's the best use, I think, of these Vicki Boutin pre-made sheets, is as a starting point for your own creativity. Thanks a lot. Bye.